Hello and welcome back to the Showbiz Side Hustle podcast, where today we are talking all things Spotlight on Success and our best-selling book. My guest needs very little introduction, but I'm going to give her one anyway, because Denise Hutton-Gosney is here ready to share her wisdom with you. She is the founder of Razzamataz Theatre Schools, now with over 80 franchises across the UK and growing globally. A Dragon's Den success story that took the entertainment industry by storm. It really is a privilege to have her pen the foreword of our best-selling book. Denise, it is a true honour to have you endorse the book in this way, and within this podcast conversation, we'll share with the listeners what drew you to do this for us and how I know that you believe performers don't get enough credit for all they are trained to do and capable of next. Denise's own Performing Arts Foundations helped build her empire, and that's why she felt so strongly that this book matters. I love that you came on this journey with me, Denise. Honestly, thank you and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the Spotlight series, where each week we meet one of the brilliant co-authors and creatives behind Spotlight on Success, the PerformerPreneur book that's redefining what success looks like both in and out of the showbiz spotlight. I'm your host here, Nicole Louise Geddes, and in these special episodes we learn even more about the stories behind the sequins, raw, honest, powerful reminders that the end of one act is only the beginning of another. So listen in as we chat challenges and triumphs and inspire you to shine in any spotlight you like.
Hi Nicole, thanks so much for inviting me. It's a real pleasure to be part of it. I just want to say I think we're filming on the hottest day of the year, hence why I'm outside. Believe it or not, this was the coolest place. It's actually cooler out here than inside my house today.
But the listeners, Denise, will appreciate the show must go on.
Exactly. Sweat or no sweat.
Yes, we are used to this in this industry, but you and I have both stepped out of the spotlight, so it does feel strange to keep pushing in this heat. So let's talk about that actually, Denise. Where did your performing arts career start? How did it build? Where did it take you? Just give us a whistle-stop tour of your background in the industry.
Yeah, I'll try because it's quite a long story. But I was brought up in a little town called Renfrew. Money was quite tight when I was growing up, so I didn't start dance very young. I was about 11 before I actually went to my first dance class. Absolutely loved it, got the bug immediately. My mum, God bless her, saved every penny she could to send me to as many classes as she could. Then I was lucky enough to get a scholarship at Brian Rogers. I went to one of Brian Rogers' seminars when I was, I think, 15, and I just adored him. And I was really lucky to get a scholarship place there. Unfortunately, I'd kind of forgot that I would have to pay for rent and food, etc. But that's another story. So I didn't manage to see out the 3 years, but I went to performers in Essex. From there, I started auditioning, as we do, going to London on the overnight bus. I think it was £5 at the time. I left Glasgow at midnight. Would get to London at 7 a.m. and go straight to Pineapple to do the audition. I was lucky enough to get my first job at Butlins, actually, in Ayr in Scotland, and it was amazing. I met friends for life, including Karen, who's my PR now. We stayed on the journey together for the last 30 odd years. From there, I was very lucky to do pantomimes, summer seasons. I was a trapeze artist at the Millennium Dome, which most of your listeners will probably recognise as the O2 Arena now. But back in 1999, it was the Millennium Dome, and I was training to do a show for the Queen as a trapeze artist. I also did the London Palladium. I was really lucky to do a world cruise. And that took me to about, I finished my career at Oasis, which is now Centre Parks in the Lake District. Hence, that's why I'm here today. I ended up staying here and not going home. And I was about 26 then. So that's kind of a whistle-stop tour. I feel I was really lucky, very blessed. I've done some amazing work, seen some beautiful countries and met some amazing people.
Honestly, I know this story, and each time you say it, I'm excited for the listeners to know the next part of the chapter. But you did start performing and dancing late, so I think that's inspiring in itself. Many people think that it has to look a certain way, which is what we're doing with the book. These careers don't have to look a certain way. You didn't graduate from college because of the financial strain. Obviously, you did get in and you were capable of. Again, that's a story and a narrative that, you are single-handedly able to dismiss. Like it doesn't need to look a certain way.
Yeah.
And to go from dance to circus with the trapeze, to go from Butlins to the Millennium Dome to the Palladium, like this is why, Denise, you and I have connected. This is why I birthed the book, the idea, because I want everybody listening in the industry to know there's no one path to success. I love, love, love this. You did it all and you've ended up where you belong into your next chapter. So I'm going to push the conversation that way. There does come a point, as you and I and many people listening know, that something shifts. I'm calling it the spotlight shift. Like something shifts, and it might be due to injury, it might be due to motherhood, it might be due to, a multitude of things, but something internally does start to shift. What was that moment for you? Are you able to pinpoint it?
Yeah, I think I was about 26. And again, I was so lucky. I traveled the world on the cruise ships. I did the West End pantomimes. I think I was kind of feeling like I was ticking all my boxes. Um, Obviously, the dancers that were coming in were 19, even at 26, you start thinking, oh, crumbs, they're a lot younger than me. So I was starting to think, what am I going to do next? So I did an open university course to do all my PT and exercise to music, became a spinning instructor. So I was kind of juggling that at the time. I was choreographer at Oasis. I was still a dancer. I was also a fitness instructor. And then that's when I thought about the theatre school. I'd also seen the industry shift. So back in the day, I felt like I was only a dancer, and it became like only a dancer wasn't enough anymore. Like you had to be obviously what's known now as a triple threat. Because I almost get into Starlight Express and I almost get into Fame because I'm a gymnast as well, but I didn't really have the confidence when it came to the singing and the acting audition. So that's when I decided to set up my first theatre school in Penrith, which meant I could still do my part-time choreography, fitness instructor. So it fit in really nicely, and Razzamataz was born.
I It's crazy, isn't it? Because I know that everyone can relate. You start juggling all the balls, you try to make everything fit, things start to shift for you, the industry, that bit inside as well, the age. And we are so tenacious, aren't we? We're not going to just stop. We're going to keep going in our own kind of right. And so you've said it, sorry, exactly that. Just starting to juggle more balls, exploring more opportunities, and then sounds to me that there was a lot of balls to juggle. At what point did you narrow it down and go, actually, this is the one for me with Razzmatazz and the theatre school?
That took quite a while, to be honest. I've always loved working. I am a grafter. I love that term because I am a grafter. I've got a really hard work ethic. So even though I was juggling a lot, it never felt like a lot, to be honest. So like I say, my first school was on a Sunday morning at Penrith. And then if I take you through where I went, on a Monday, I went to Dumfries, which was like an hour away from Penrith. Then on a Tuesday, I went to West Cumbria, which is an hour in the other direction. Then on a Wednesday, it was Glasgow. Thursday was Paisley up in Scotland. I would drive back on the Friday. Saturday morning was South Lakes. Saturday afternoon was Carlisle. And Sunday at one point was South Lakes as well. So I'd really jam-packed my day. And I was still doing a little bit of fitness instructor at the time. I'm the type of person I like to be busy. When I get a day off, I'm like, what do people do on a day off? Um, but I'm not like that now because I think, I'm older now. I've got children now. I do enjoy a day off now because it is healthy to find that balance equally. But I was just really driven and I just loved what I did. I absolutely loved it. And it was never about money back then either. It was just about growing the business. I knew we were doing such good work in the communities and I wanted to serve as many communities as I could really. And I just really enjoyed it.
So it started small with your one class on a Sunday in Penrith, and then you started to expand and grow. And I mean, Denise, that's not just expanding a few classes in the same area. You are traveling the whole of the north there and reaching so many people. Was there a moment in that process, and I think it'll be interesting for the listeners that are also kind of doing it all as we do and being passionate about it as we are, was there a moment that that felt necessary to start bringing in more people or delegating or diversifying? What did that look like on a business kind of minded point of view?
Yeah, so I think I had kind of used all the days of the week up, and I thought I've ran out of days of the week. Now what do I do? I had some great people on my team already, so I started putting managers in place, and then I decided to use franchising as a vehicle to scale my business. And I do everything by the book. So I joined the BFA, the British Franchise Association. I engaged a consultant to write our first operations manual and a solicitor to write our franchise agreement. Um, and yeah, I put managers in at arm's length to prove it was profitable and operational without me, which it absolutely was. And that's when I decided to continue to grow and scale the business via franchising. I sold three very quickly within my own team who were perhaps relocating. They were in Cumbria at the art college, but they were going home and they wanted to take Razzamataz with them. So it kind of sort of organically happened. Um, and then it's just grew to today. Obviously, we've got Dragon's Den in the middle, but I think you're going to ask me about that in a minute.
I am. Just tell us how big you've grown to, just to finish that moment off.
So today we've got 85 schools in the UK. We've got a master franchise in the UAE with Dubai already up and running successfully. We've got a master franchise in the Republic of Ireland, and Limerick is launching later on this year. And we've got another five launching this year before the year ends.
Incredible. I am going to go to Dragon's Den in a moment, but the first thing I want to just point out and just take a moment to credit is, myself included, many of us set off on this journey of entrepreneurship. We've got the tenacity, we've got the creativity, and something that can stop many of us is that imposter syndrome of not necessarily knowing the next steps or not having enough business knowledge or background. But you did something that I think, not many people dare to do, but is available to anyone. It's to find out, to learn, to make sure that you are literally doing and being and understanding what your next step is by educating yourself. Would you think that's something that you would, remind people is available to them to
Yeah.
educate themselves on the next steps?
Absolutely. I didn't even know what a franchise was when I left school. I had no idea. That wasn't part of my plan. But I'm a big believer in always staying curious, always every day's a school day. Don't be scared to ask questions. People really want to help you. You'll be amazed at how many people want to help. So I was lucky enough to get a mentor at the Prince's Trust. And that was my first ever business mentor when I set the business up. And he was fantastic and helped me, especially with things like finance, because we do what we do because we love it. But you
Mhm.
have to make sure you understand the finance, because if you don't, then you can't continue doing your good work in the community. But yeah, I learned on the job, as they say. I kept asking questions. I kept surrounding myself with good people, and always engaged like a mentor, a business mentor or coach, to try and support me with things that I didn't know. You cannot know all. Nobody knows it all.
No, no. And that's my message all the time to my clients. Like, you don't know it all. I don't necessarily know it all. Well, I certainly don't know it all. But let's bring in people that do ask the questions, be curious, all the things you
Yeah.
said. So I love that. And it just shows that when you do that, the next door opens, the next door opens. And when we're talking about doors, nice little segue there, Nicole. We're talking about doors. How did the Dragon's Den door open? What is that story, Denise?
So I applied to Dragon's Den with a game, not Razzmatazz, but because I didn't have a prototype ready, they encouraged me to come on with Razzmatazz. I'll be honest, initially I was a little bit reluctant because it was my baby, but I thought, well, at the very least, I'll get some nice publicity from it, because I knew I had a great business model and I knew the good work we were doing in so many communities even before I went on Dragon's Den. So yeah, it was a staircase, not a lift, and it was probably the most scariest thing I've ever done in my life. But I don't regret it. We definitely got catapulted into the limelight, and it gave us so much publicity. Obviously, working with Duncan Bannatyne was amazing. He invested for 7 years, and then I purchased my shares back off him. We got a 10-year contract with TUI. So we were training our teams centrally in the UK and flying them out globally, worldwide. And we've just worked with so many big brands since that show. And it's definitely down to Dragon's Den. So if anyone's got any aspirations, I'd just say just do it. What have you got to lose? A lot of people said to me, "Oh my goodness, what, like you can't do that. Why are you doing it?" And I think, especially when you're in this industry, you always think, well, the more you say I can't do it, the more I can do it actually. Um, but yeah, and it's just having the confidence to do it. Like I was absolutely terrified. So if I can do it, honestly, anyone can do it.
It's the best story. I've watched the episode. It is available on YouTube. Please do go find it. In fact, Tom, let's pop that link below in the show notes. It is the best story, and I think confidence plays a huge part in everything we do. Do you think that performing arts builds that confidence, nurtures it, gifts it? Where do you think confidence sits, and how is performing arts part of that picture?
Yeah, 100%. I was really quite a shy kid at school. I was always very ambitious, always from a very young age, and loved working from a very young age, but still quite shy, quite like not had a huge amount of confidence. And then I always say I found dance, or did dance find me? I'm not sure. And it just gave me, it's like I always describe it as like a flower blossoming, and you get your little shy kids that come in and they won't look you in the eye, they won't speak, and then give them 6 months, a year, and they're, reciting a poem in front of a room full of parents. And that's the rewarding part of what we do. And yeah, I think a lot of performers are naturally quite shy people, but when they're on stage, they can be someone else. Like they've got this different persona. Even really famous people, you find that they're naturally quite shy people.
Introverted. I am as well, but people don't believe it because we can switch it on because that
Mm.
training has given us the tools. And I know that you've built a whole business around giving these children the tools. You believe and you are witnessing how these tools of the foundations of performing can go on to become a variety of different careers, different spotlights. And you wrote the foreword for Spotlight on Success because you wholeheartedly believe that that foundation is a huge advantage, yeah?
Yeah, confidence matters in whatever career you're going to end up doing, because you'll have to make eye contact at an interview. You'll have to be able to sell yourself, even if you don't really believe it. You have to sell yourself. You might end up having to do a presentation in whatever job you end up doing, and those skills, in my opinion, because I've witnessed it personally myself, and I've witnessed it with tens of thousands of young people coming through our door. It definitely does make a difference, to sort of support that academic. If you're academically gifted, that will definitely support in whatever you want to do.
So you and I have met through the conception, the creation of this book. Like we both went to performers, but in very different times. And we've both been in the industry, but our paths haven't crossed. We've both built businesses, all of this. So I do believe that people are drawn to people. Energy attracts energy, like for like, and all of that. But you and I found each other, and you have I don't know how to, you have accepted the invitation or you felt drawn to. I don't know which way round it ended up being, but you are happy to be part of this process and put your name to the book. What was it about the first edition that you felt compelled to be part of this in such an incredible, lovely way?
I love what you're doing, Nicole. It's so important. And one of our franchise partners, Michael, was obviously in that book as well. And it was lovely to read his story. Obviously, we're in the business of sharing what we do, and you can be part of our network by being a franchise partner with us. But just any career, like, it makes me quite sad. I went to watch a West End show recently, and the talent on that stage is phenomenal, goes without saying. And I do think, where do these super talented people go? Because let's face it, certainly if it's a very physical role, as a dancer, you're probably maybe mid-30s, probably thinking, what now? Maybe you want a family, or, it makes me sad to think that maybe they are not sure, or maybe they feel they've left it too late to have another career, and they absolutely have not left it too late. And there is more out there when as you always say, when the curtain comes down, there's more.
Oh, there's so much more. The diversity inside the pages, as you've expressed, just shines a spotlight on all of the options, all of the reasons, all of the worries, all of the opportunity, but also all of the fantastic opportunities before that moment as well. Because let's be honest, it's an incredible career to be part of, but it just doesn't have the longevity, and nobody's talking about that. And within all of those options, um, go buy the book, read the book, listeners. I'd love you to. But there is obviously your option, the buying something that's packaged up, Denise, that can just be like whatever age, whatever stage of your career, you can buy into this very well established, very well managed business and become your own boss. So I'd love to just touch on that if we've got time.
Yeah, so Razzamataz Theatre Schools is obviously a franchise business. You buy a territory from us, and we will give you so you own that territory, you own the brand name in that territory, you grow that as an asset to either sell on or pass down to your children. You come to our head office, you train with us for a week. We give you all the tools, the resources, the know-how. You're assigned a support mentor from day one who will hold your hand through the whole process. From there, you're invited onto our WhatsApp groups, to our conferences. We have 4 creative development days every year. There's just loads to get involved in, and it's just nice to share. They always say, franchising is being in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And also, a lot of performers, and me included, I didn't particularly know how to produce a children's show. Just because I was a dancer didn't mean I knew all the regulations of backstage, front of stage, safeguarding, children performance laws. I didn't know all of that. So can you do it on your own? You could, but it will take you a lot longer to get from A to B. I mean, some of our franchisees, give you an example, in Kent, she's only works 2 days a week now, and she turns over a six-figure sum every year, and she has a huge team, and she absolutely adores what she does. So that being in that industry didn't have to end for her. Like, it doesn't have to end. The story doesn't have to end. You can stay in this industry, which is magical. And I found that actually I got, because I think the big worry is, oh, I won't get the buzz anymore because it's not me that's performing. In my opinion, you absolutely do, because you get a bigger buzz because you see these young people grow in confidence, perform, become talented, whether they go on to West End or not. You've been a part of their journey, and that's such a privilege.
It is a privilege, and we've all been in those situations, right? When we were growing up, and those people are so influential. And if you can gift that to the next generation in whatever form, whatever guise it is, it's just about keeping that legacy going. And that passion meets purpose piece, but the book's tagline, it's what are you passionate about? What could the purpose become? What's the legacy piece in that? And you have created this opportunity, Denise, for so many people to leave their legacy, to share their passion, to have a purpose outside of the traditional showbiz spotlight. And that's why, honestly, if you're watching, listeners, on YouTube, you can just see me grinning from ear to ear. That is why I just feel so honored that you have written the foreword for this book, because everything you are about is everything I'm about, and everything we both and all inside these pages want the next generation or people at Crossroads to understand and believe that there's so much
Yeah.
more and it's so possible. And find people, find information, find your circle, find your next crew. You can do it. There's a line that you've written that says, "This book matters because you matter." And I think we don't even need to go any further with that. I think people can tell just from listening to you today, Denise. It's so genuine, it's so heartfelt. You want people to succeed. You've shown that and expressed that by supporting me and the 18 authors. So I really, really am appreciative of that. To the final thing, if you can give me a couple more minutes, is legacy is clearly something that drives you. You've created your own legacy, you're gifting the opportunity for others to create legacy. What do you hope that Spotlight on Success, the book, what do you hope the reader feels and believes when they put that down?
I hope they believe that I can do it too. and that, like I say, the story doesn't have to end, just because your career on stage has ended. You can absolutely stay in this industry. You can absolutely have a thriving business of your own, whether it's a Razzamataz franchise or some other opportunity. But just believe in yourself and believe that there is more, because I'm now 53 and I'm really proud that I'm still going to Disney with the kids. I'm going to the West End with the kids. And I think it helps keep you young, is also, but yeah, just believe in yourself, because you do matter, like the end of your career doesn't mean that you can't continue in this amazing industry. Also, if you want to have a family, which I did a bit later in my career, because I was very career driven, um, this our franchise in particular is perfect if you want to have a family, because it's so flexible. Both of my children spent a lot of time in hospital, and I always say to my husband, if I had a proper job, I'd have been sacked by now, because there's only so many times that you can't go to work because of your kids. But our main operational day is a Saturday, obviously, but the rest of the work is flexible from home. So also, if you've got aspirations to have a family, and still want to stay in this industry, because I think some people think, oh, I can't have it all. You kind of can, actually, if you surround yourself with the right people, talk to the right people, yeah, you kind of can.
I want that to be the end sentence. I can't stop talking. You can have it all. It's kind of a message we don't get told often enough.
Mm,
And I think across the board, across all generations, across all genders, across all careers, we just don't believe that that is possible, but you are living proof. There's so many people that are really pushing and showing that it is possible. And so believe you can have it all, and it can be whatever all looks like for you as well. Like there's
yeah,
no
absolutely.
one size fits all. Pick what you want life to look like, build it, believe it, and know that the foundations of your performing career absolutely are part of that puzzle, and they will support you. Denise, it's been a privilege this whole journey. You and I are now intertwined in each other's worlds, and I can't wait to see what you do next, what happens to the book, who we attract, who we can help, how we can work together. But first and foremost, today, I'm just very grateful our paths crossed, and I'm so thankful that you wanted to support this project. So thank you, Denise.
Oh, no, thank you, Nicole. It's been lovely to meet and lovely to read all the stories in the book. They're all equally as inspiring as each other. And I'm just so glad that you've created this platform to share for other performers to see, if they're doing their 5-year plan right now, what's out there and their options. So congratulations.
Thank you. I thank you. Big love, my darling.
Thank you.
There you have it. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of the Spotlight series, where stories shine and success gets redefined. If you loved what you heard, hit like, follow, or subscribe. And be sure to grab your copy of Spotlight on Success over on Amazon. And don't forget to tag us at PerformerPreneur across all socials. If you've been inspired today to step into a new spotlight, you can find a whole community ready to support you at performerpreneur.co.uk, as well as up-and-coming events and even more about each author. Until next time, stay bold, stay brilliant, and continue to shine.